These guys that you are knocking are passport bros and all that stuff, are they living a better life than you, man? Somebody who's on Social Security income, say you get about $1,800, $2,000 a month Social Security income. Here, that's not a great thing. But overseas, you could live a solid life. So would you knock somebody for doing that? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Today, I want to talk a little bit about the passport bros. And I feel like this is something that I needed to touch on. You know, I travel, but of course I'm traveling with my wife, so I couldn't be considered a passport bro. Phrase has got kind of a bad connotation. And I don't think that's kind of how it started. So I'm gonna just give you guys my perception on the passport bro thing and you know what it kind of means to me. In a general sense, what people are saying currently, a passport bro is potentially somebody who basically came from, you know, the US or another one of these developed nations that are flying overseas to find women because they can't find a good woman here, or they're disappointed with the current women right now, and or they don't have enough money to get the type of woman that they would want to get in the US, and they could get a more quote unquote beautiful woman overseas with not having as much money. So that is what I think the general consensus is of what a passport bro is. If you have a different definition of it, please drop it in the comments. That's just kind of from me watching videos and you know, kind of reading. That's kind of what I'm thinking that a passport bro is. Now, I don't think that was what a passport bro started as, right? I don't think that's what it was. I may be wrong. If I'm wrong, drop it in the comments. But this is what I think a passport bro started as. I thought it started because military deployments, right? So because what I'm starting to see, and what you will see, is a lot of these quote unquote passport bros are like ex-military guys. And a lot of these ex-military guys had like deployments overseas. They had deployments in the Philippines. Some of the older guys were definitely in the Philippines back in the day, definitely Vietnams, and all these places that we have these relationships with, and we have these bases, South Korea and places like that. And so what happened is, you know, there was a huge influx of these folks, specifically with the United States, into those places. And what they started noticing, the men started noticing, is that the women were different. And the reason why the women are different in those countries is because it's a different culture. The United States kind of has a different culture when it comes to women. And I'm not here to debate any side of the culture, but what I'm saying is the culture for women is a bit different in the United States, right? In these countries overseas, the culture is more like, you know, the women, you know, they take care of the family. You know, they're more subservient, and, you know, they're a little bit more relaxed and stuff like here. In the United States, it's a bit of the opposite of that. I'm not going to describe it, because if I do, somebody's going to destroy me in the comments. But it's different from that, and I really don't want to get into it. But so I think what happened is a lot of these military guys went overseas and they started, you know, noticing some of these differences in these women. And so because of that, you know, they felt more comfortable approaching these women. So I think one of the negative connotations, you know, the passport bros get is there's a lot of these men over here that can't make it, so they go over there. And, you know, for me, I just don't really think that's what it is. I don't think it's about, you know, predominantly, right? So of course there is going to be some, like, two things can be true at once, right? So there's definitely some guys that are struggling over here. They're like, hey man, listen, you know, it's tough to make it over here. And anybody that lives here in the States in 2026, like, that's the thing. So imagine somebody like this, somebody who's on Social Security income. Say you get about $1,800, $2,000 a month Social Security income. Here, that's not a great thing. But overseas, you could live a solid life. So would you knock somebody for doing that, right? Would you knock somebody who's getting less than $2,000 a month and that's all they're going to get for the rest of their life, for saying, you know what, I'm not going to live in the US. I'm going to move somewhere where my 1,800 could stretch a lot further, right? There's a category of people that are making that move because of that precisely, right? And then, yes, there are some younger folks, you know, younger men and younger women, because I've seen the women making the videos too, but for some reason, like, these women don't get the same, bad name. And I kind of don't know what that is all about. But you see a lot of younger men, there's a lot of guys that I follow that they just subscribe to that it's just cheaper to live over there. And it's just facts, man. A lot of this stuff is just facts. Now, there is a byproduct of, the women are different. They do treat their men differently, but that's a cultural difference. And, I can't really knock somebody from what they like, right? Like, some men may like a type of woman who's very subservient, that better, just does everything they say. And I'm not knocking somebody from taking that position, but then some men like women that's going to challenge them, right? And so I think it's just more of a preference thing as far as what people want, combined with the fact that the cost of living is less over there. So at the end of the day, man, I'm not knocking nobody for what they feel like they need to do to make their life better. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. If somebody is in a position to say, hey, whether it's because of the women or whether it's because the cost of living is lower, like, why are we bashing these people that make these decisions? Like, we don't have control over, other people's lives. I think that's one of the issues that we have in this country right now, is like, we're so worried about what other people are doing with their lives, and we base a lot of our decisions based on what other people are doing in their lives. If somebody says, I like a woman who's like a Thai woman or a Filipino woman or a Vietnamese woman, and that's what they like, that's what they like. Like, why are we knocking them? Why we got to say, oh man, you couldn't hack it here in the US? I just think that's a crazy mindset to have behind somebody who's decided that they want to live their life a different way. If somebody decides they want to live their life a different way, more power to you, man. Go live the life the way you want to do. I don't care what you want to do. You know why? Because it don't impact my life. So, I don't want to get on a rant, but I just really have some strong feelings about people who worry so much about what other people do with their own lives, right? Especially when it doesn't really impact them. So, but again, there are some guys that you can call them whatever you want. Maybe people will call them trifling, that go over there because, they just can't hack it. But what does that really mean though? You know what I mean? Like, drop in the comments, like, what does that really mean when you say, like, people can't keep up or they can't do it here? Like, what does that mean? Like, is there some type of crowning achievement for making it in the United States that makes you a better person than other people? I just really don't get the outrage about when people want to make that decision to go overseas. So drop in the comments. Maybe there's something I'm missing from this whole equation about these passport bros, and I'm not trying to defend them. I'm just trying to challenge that thought process that we seem to have, that if somebody decides to do something with their life, that we're judging them in a negative way based on our thought process, right? To me, that's just a flawed thought process, man, because I think that is the reason why we have a lot of problems that we have right now in this country, because of that same thought process. So again, not saying I approve, not saying I disapprove. I'm just saying that, why does it matter to anybody as to what these guys decide they want to do with their life and who they decide that they want to date? And for whatever reason that is, they want to date those people. So give me your comments, man. Drop it in the comments. Tell me what you guys think about the whole passport bro issue. Do you think it's a real thing? Do you think it's like fabricated outrage? Or do you think there's something real to it? If there's something real to it that I didn't cover on this video, drop it in the comments, man, because I definitely will want to make a follow-up video just to talk about that. I know I didn't dive too deep into it. I know there's that other piece of it as far as some of the exploitation that's going on. Didn't really want to talk about that in this video, but if that's something that y'all are passionate about, I could definitely touch on that in another video. I just really want to touch on more of the mindset of people judging people, what they decide to do based on their personal preference. And is that something that we should be doing as a society? It's all in the travel space, man. I'm gonna continue to keep traveling. I know I'm gonna come across these passport bros, and some of them are living their best life. But I would challenge you to think: are these guys that you are knocking, our passport bros and all that stuff, are they living a better life than you, man? So we'll talk about it next time. Peace.